Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to continue on with this kind of Swedish mini December series that I'm doing for you. We've got another new brewery tonight. So for this one we are going to go up to Stockholm to a little place called Haninge, which is about an hour to the south of the city, but we're going to try their local beer today, and this one is Södra Maltfabriken, and we're going to have a taste of their IPA. But Södra Maltfabriken, quite an unusual name for a brewery actually, but it literally means Southern Malt Factory, and this beer is quite highly rated on Rate Beer. Actually, it's got quite a good rating for a kind of for an IPA, so should be a pretty interesting one for us to try. And it is one of the easier IPAs to find in System Bolaget. It's one of the quite widely distributed ones, so I think it is a pretty popular beer here. So really quite looking forward to reviewing this one for you today. So as is usual with my beer reviews, then I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual website links are in the video description below. The brewery website, the link to my future reviews that I'll do from Sodra. Very first time I'm actually tasting one of their beers. There's also the Facebook page for the channel, please like it, and also my Untappd profile as well. So feel free to add me as a friend on there. To my Swedish viewers, I do apologise if any of the Swedish pronunciations I make are wrong. I'm still learning since I've moved here to Lund, but I would appreciate it if you do tell me some of the other Swedish beers that you'd like me to have a go of. There's another 10 videos in this kind of Swedish December series that you're getting, so hopefully you enjoy some of those, but do feel free to recommend some beers to me and I'll see if I can review them for you. But anyway, Södra Maltfabriken, as I told you, are based in Haninge, a little town called Handen, and the company was founded in 2011 by Niklas Hjelm and Magnus Morberg. So they're a completely independently owned craft brewery, and they have an on-site bar and lounge where they host beer tastings and pub nights as well. It seats about 50 people, and they also plan to introduce some beer brewing courses to the brewery as well. So you can actually go to this brewery now and learn how to brew beer. But the brewery has a 2,500 4-vessel system that has 12 fermentation tanks. So this gives them an annual capacity of 300,000 litres per year. But their beers are proving quite popular, as you might have guessed, because it's quite widely distributed throughout Sweden, so they are hoping to expand. So I'm sure we'll see some interesting things coming from Sodra over the next little while. But just to list the other beers you can get from these guys in their core range, there's the Passion, which is a kind of light pale ale, there's the Pale Ale, the Organic Lager, the IPA, and also the Almighty, which I think is also an IPA or a pale ale, but it's quite a bit more. I think it's got a bigger alcohol content and a bigger hop content in it as well. So that'll probably be the next one I review for you from Sodra if I can get a hold of it. But yeah, that's your brief little bit about Södra Maltfabriken, so do go and check out the brewery website as I said. But without further ado then, we'll actually get stuck into this beer. So this one is a 7% IPA, as I've told you before. It's hopped with Centennial, Amarillo and Columbus hops, and it's got a malt base of Vienna, Pale Ale, Melanoid, and also some light and dark malts as well. So just let you see the artwork on this one, it's quite nicely done. You can see there's a kind of zebra striped fox on this one. I'm not sure exactly what that's all about, but it is pretty cool. It's one of these kind of slightly trippy artworks actually, but I do think it's pretty cool. And they also have Sodra on their bottle cap actually. Not so many Swedish craft breweries actually have their own bottle caps. I've noticed that since I've come over here. A lot of them just use plain bottle caps, so I actually do like collecting the bottle caps, so hopefully more of them get on to having their own thing. So, but without further ado, let's get stuck into this, guys. So as I told you, it's 7% IPA from Haninge in Sweden. There we are. So as you can see, nice little bit of a smoky opening there. Just dripped a little bit of it. It's quite a nice bright orangey amber, this beer. We're getting a nice head on it as well actually. Just let it calm down a wee bit. Oh, it's actually quite red. The beer colour on this one is quite red, and you can smell a lot of nice caramel malty character off this one as you pour it. Really quite a nice smelling beer. So yeah, it's actually looking very red to me. I'll just bring over the light and let you see it. It's actually, if I just put it over here next to the light, you can see it's actually quite a dark reddy copper amber. I wasn't expecting that actually. I was expecting it to be a sort of bright orangey amber when it's an IPA, but it looks really quite nice actually. You can see there's a solid 2 and a little bit finger of a frothy cream coloured head there. Beer looks really nice. If I put my fingers behind it, you can see there is a degree of transparency, but it is kind of hazy. There's 1 or 2 little bits of sediment visible there, a few big bubbles sitting around the edge of the glass, and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head. But looks a very nice beer. That's one of the nicest looking IPAs I've seen in a while actually, so should be a really cool one for us to try. I always find that the darker looking IPAs, they tend to have a bit more malty character in them, and I have to admit I do like the ones that are well balanced between the hops and the malt. So let's give this guy a smell and we'll get on with this one. Got my nose in it a little bit, but yeah, it's actually, the balance of the aroma of this one smells really nice. Underneath you can pick up a good bit of sweet caramel, not really quite toasted, it is more of a sweet caramel rather than a darker caramel. And you can get a little bit of the breadiness out of it as well. But if you sugar it up a bit more, you'll start to get the hoppier characteristics of the beer. And from that you can get the fruits and stuff that you expect of these American hops that are in this beer. So there's a good bit of an orangey citrus coming out this one. The hops actually smell a little bit dusty actually, and I tend to find that that's usually something that comes when they use the Centennial hop actually. It gives you this big, dusty, floral character, and you can smell that in here as well. But there's an orangey citrus character, I did it again, but you can pick that up. That's the Amarillo hop coming out, a nice orangey citrus in there. There is perhaps a little bit of tropical fruit in there. If you sniff it a bit more closely, you can pick up some grapefruit. Maybe a little bit of mango as well, but I think the tropical element to the beer mainly is grapefruit, and to me the orangey citrus is coming out a little bit more. And as I say, that's the Amarillo hop. But there's a good bit of floral character in there, and that's the Centennial and the Columbus. The Columbus, I think, gives you a little bit more of a slightly herbal character, but the floral aromatic character in this beer is really nice. You can smell a bit of a kind of smoother grassy hop as well as the aromatic sharpness in the beer. Maybe even just a little hint of pine raisin, but that's a very, very mild aroma. But the aroma smells really nicely balanced between the caramel malts. The caramel malt, I think, is really quite present in this one. It's just underneath that nice, sweet, juicy orange character that comes out of this beer. And as I say, that floral, aromatic, dusty hop that's in there is really nice as well. So as I always say, before you try a beer, definitely give it a smell. But without further ado, let's get stuck into this one. So this is the IPA from Södra Maltfabriken up in Haninge near Stockholm. Skål! It's quite nice actually, I have to admit that on first taste, quite nice. Yeah, it's actually quite nicely balanced, and on my first impression of the taste, I think there's a little bit of earthy character in the hops there. You can pick that out at the back corners of your palate. The hops always come out, as I say, on the edge of your tongue, but there's a little bit of earthy character that comes in there, and immediately it's obvious, right on the back of the palate there. And the pine, there's actually a bit of pine raisin, I think, mixing with that as well. Earthy character wasn't really so obvious or wasn't obvious at all really in the aroma for this one. But yeah, there's a big hoppy character to this beer. The malt, it's not that it's not there, but the hop is quite a bit more prominent in this one. You get just a little bit of caramel sweetness there and a little bit of breadiness. The caramel sweetness is a lot less than you'd think it would be in this one. I think it's kind of, and that's probably just because the hops come out a good bit more. The dry, sort of florally aromatic character from the Centennial hop, and it does taste quite dusty actually. It tastes fresh, but at the same time those hops have that nice dusty character to them. But yeah, I actually really quite like this one. This is a nice, fairly light and quite sessionable IPA actually. It does have just a little bit of boozy character in it as well that you get once you take a few sips. It's a really well balanced one, this actually. But yeah, with a hoppy character on this beer, as I said, around the edge of the tongue, back corners of the palate is an earthy character. I think it smooths out as you take a few more sips of this beer. You can pick up a bit of pine resin on the tongue as well, around the edges of the palate. As you move a little bit further forward, then it becomes more floral and aromatic, and maybe slightly grassy around the front curve of the tongue. It's quite smooth around there, but the earthy hop characters are at the back of the palate. They smooth out, like I say. Then there's the pine resin and a little bit of that floral aromatic character. The beer actually has a good bit of hoppy dryness to it actually, and it just lingers there on the tongue. Yeah. The bready character of the malt base comes out after you take a few more sips as well. But if you go just behind the front curve of your tongue, you'll get a little oily bubble, and there's a nice orangey citrus flavour coming out there, and it's actually quite juicy, almost one of the clearest orange flavours I've had. A lot of the times you can get a nice orange flavour in there, but there's a lot of other tropical fruits kind of punching away at it, and there's only a little hint of that here. You can pick up a little bit of grapefruit in there. Maybe there's even like a little bit of mango as well. The tropical fruit is a little bit more kind of juicy, if that makes sense. It reminds me a bit of a mango flavour, so there could perhaps be a little element of that in this beer. But yeah, definitely a nice orangey citrus flavour. Just that little oily bubble behind the tongue, as I say, that's where your fruity esters usually come out with the flavour of the beer. But behind that, you've got a nice kind of light bready characteristic that just blankets the middle of the tongue. Mainly the Vienna malts, I think, that are coming out. There is perhaps a little bit of a kind of cereally spice to this beer, perhaps from the dark malts. So you do just get a little bit of a cereally spice and a bit of dry character from the malt base as well. But on top of that, there's a little bit of caramel character, and it comes across as being a bit darker than it was in the aroma, and that's where a bit of the boozy character is. You can get a little bit of alcohol out of this, but not too much. I mean, 7% for an IPA is about standard. I mean, usually it's about 6% or something like that. So 7 is a little bit more on the heavy side, but it's still good. And it actually suits, having the slightly heavier malt base on this one for the alcohol content really suits the beer. I think the flavours balance out really quite well in this. But yeah, quite nice actually. It's quite a nice sessionable IPA this. I've said that a few times in the video, but this one definitely mid-bodied. The carbonation in it is really quite smooth. Quite an oily mouthfeel this one, I would say as well, but there's a good hoppy bitterness there. It's not the most in-your-face beer when it comes to the hoppy bitterness or the malty sweetness actually, but it balances very well, and it's a good sort of session IPA this. I'd be interested to try it on tap, because usually the malty characters come out as being a little bit sweeter, so I'd be interested to see how this one turns out with just a little bit of a more sweet caramel flavour. But overall, it's a really nice and quite sessionable IPA, and I wouldn't hesitate to get this one again. You know, I very rarely drink beer when I go out these days. Mainly I do all the beer I drink tends to be the stuff I review. But you know, if I was actually going out to drink beer and this was on tap, you know, would definitely be up there. A very good sessionable IPA. Not the most in your face with hops and not the most in your face with malt actually. It's just a nice blend of flavour. So if that's the kind of thing you like to go for, then I would recommend that you try this. It's a nice enjoyable IPA, so give it a go. And I want to try some of the other stuff from Sodra now as well, so we'll see how we get on, and hopefully I can get a few more of them. But anyway, as always, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. Please let me know your own thoughts on the beer in the comment section below. Always interesting to hear from you guys that are watching the videos. And thank you again for watching my beer reviews. Please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and like the Facebook page. Feel free to add me as a friend on Untappd, and most importantly, let me know what beers you enjoy and I'll see if I can get a hold of them. But I hope you've enjoyed the review, and Slangy for just now. More Swedish reviews coming for you over the next 10 days or so. Skål!